Dude, I thought you guys were recording when we came on, man. You never know what's going to happen, dude. Always record. Hey, what's up, guys? It's DJ BBQ. You got to tune to the Lockdown BBQ. What's it called again? Hey, guys, it's DJ BBQ, and you are locked in to the Lockdown BBQ Show.
We're living in unprecedented times. Around the world, medical teams are doing an amazing job in tackling the coronavirus. In the UK, our brilliant NHS, thousands of key workers and volunteers are leading the battle against COVID-19. Many of us are following government advice and staying at home in lockdown. Before the pandemic hit, myself, Neal, aka BBQ Explorers, and the Smoking Elk had talked about collaborating on a video project for YouTube. The virus put a stop to that idea. However, as barbecue mad people, we are determined not to be beaten, so we have used a bit of online tech to create a new video show for the barbecue community. Welcome to the Lockdown BBQ Show. Coming up in today's show, Elky shows us how to cook the perfect tomahawk steak on a kettle grill. Neal fires up his milk churn smoker for the first time. Our special guest is the one and only Christian Stevenson, aka DJ BBQ, best-selling author and cool dude. And we go on a journey around the barbecue community to take a look at what you've been cooking. Welcome to the Lockdown BBQ Show. Hello and welcome to the show. We hope you've had a really good week. Elky, the weather's been amazing. What have you been up to?
The weather has indeed been fantastic. Been cooking that in this glorious weather as usual. I think the highlight of the weekend was some mackerel melts for the DJ BBQ Fire Food Book. Also hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, which is pretty sweet. So I may have had one or two beers to celebrate. What about you?
That Instagram news is brilliant, Elky. We've had a good week, lots of projects in the garden and obviously lots of barbecue. Now, this week we're changing the format of the show slightly. We're going to start off with our celebrity guest. Elky, would you like to introduce him?
This man really needs no introduction. He is an absolute superstar of barbecue. It's none other than DJ BBQ.
Apologies for the lockdown hair.
Don't you worry, we've all got lockdown hair.
Yeah, it's my lockdown hair. I've got none of it.
Dude, I thought you guys were recording when we came on, man. You never know what's going to happen, dude. Always record.
Christian, welcome to the Lockdown BBQ Show. How are you and your family coping with lockdown?
We're okay, apart from that we've gone nocturnal. I got 3 teenage boys, and they don't want to go to sleep, and they want to sleep in all day. So, I'll make myself breakfast and lunch. Granted, it's early. I mean, it's late. But I don't start making food for them until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And dinners are usually around midnight. I just did a full chicken roast dinner with all the fixings, fresh chicken gravy, and then I did a marinated flank steak and Italian dressing. And that's why I'm out of breath. I just got done serving that to the kids. And that's lunch. We do South Park from 3 in the morning to 4:30. It's crazy.
So, Christian, this time last year, we were actually on your DJ BBQ Masterclass.
Man, it was a pleasure meeting you, dude, and getting to cook with someone like that loves it and is good at it and is better than me at it. So that was fucking rad.
Definitely not better than you. But, yeah, I mean, what a fantastic weekend. And I think you were due to do it again this year, weren't you, on the same weekend?
Yeah, last weekend. But boy, was it hot. I mean, it was hotter than a goat's butt in a chili pepper patch. I mean, it was hot.
So I've been a fan of yours since you used to run a feature in FHM, didn't you? I always remember DJ BBQ feature in FHM quite many years ago now. So I got
some of those downstairs, man.
Have you really?
Yeah, it's always a really pretty girl on the front,
There was. So how did that come about? I mean, how was DJ BBQ born, so to speak?
The brand started in 2012 when I was DJing on the banks of Loch Ness at a festival called Rock Ness.
Okay.
And I was the headline DJ on the Saturday night. The tent was packed. It was 15 deep out. And then all the people dancing started taking their clothes off. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do when I'm 40? Am I going to keep playing to half naked, 20-something-year-olds? Maybe Fatboy Slim can get away with it, but maybe not DJ. I was DJ Fuzzy Nuts then. And so I decided, I had this epiphany that I would put my love of barbecue, my love of DJing, because I always did them both, but never really together and just kind of create this catertainment area. So at festivals, instead of making 500 quid a night, I can maybe make, 800 quid, a grand a night, depending on the festival. But they might come for the food and then they'll stay for the music, or the other way around. That way we kind of become a destination. And that's why we created DJ BBQ.
And what a creation. What a creation. Now, you've got a few books. You've got a few books. I remember the barbecue book from Jamie Oliver's Food Tube channel, I believe it was.
Yep, there it is.
And obviously, there you go. Yeah, I've got that book. I've obviously got your signed copy of the burger book that you personally signed for me, and Fire Food. So where do you get your ideas and your inspiration for the books? And have you got any more books planned on the horizon?
There's a book I want to write, and that's the one I'm trying to pitch. And then there's a book they want me to write, and that's not really the book I want to write. If I'm going to spend the next, year and a half going into another one, because, we put our heart and soul into these books. Fire Food, I spent 4 years on. The barbecue book was my whole life. A lot of them are family recipes, my grandpa's, my dad's, people that I live with, guys from the South. But a lot of it's just, family. And also working in restaurants. People kept saying, "Are you reading other books?" And I go, "Not really. I have a ton of them, but I don't really read them because I don't really want. I want it all to be kind of fresh and just. I like being influenced and looking at what people do, but I don't want to copy. So I want to keep it really original. That's why they're pretty crazy, like Fleetwood Mac and Cheese Burger, and get ready to blow up the Death Star burger, the double egg sausage and McChoppy Chop burger. We want people to have fun, eat delicious food, but also laugh.
You've had some pretty amazing outfits since you've been DJ BBQ. What's your inspiration behind the outfits?
Well, this is the one I wear a lot. These bad boys. I probably hugged Elky in these with no shirt on. Sorry.
You have, yeah, you have.
And these are the ones I wore in Chalet Girl. If you've ever seen that film. The inspiration came from my mom. My mom was the disco queen of the East Coast. Like, she was at Studio 54. She was always dressing up. She was quite flamboyant. And then I noticed when I would watch DJs, they were really boring. So when I started DJing, I would think, okay, I better add something to this. Because I used to always dance and do, b-boying and popping and locking and the robot, all those dances. So I just started getting outfits on. They just got a bit more crazier, more custom made. And I would do like 3 or 4 costume changes during a DJ set. And now when we do the food, if I'm not wearing the spandex, like, I keep trying to phase it out. But people get angry at me for not wearing it. Like, they're like, where is it? Like, you're supposed to be wearing it. I'm like, I just woke up, man. I mean, I've been smoking meat since 3 this morning. Oh, give me I'll get it on. Give me 2 hours and I'll get what do you guys want? The Stars and Stripes or the DJ BBQ, or do you want the Cosmic Explosion meets a Buddhist monk? What do you all want?
When did fire become really special for you?
I think when I was about 6 or 7, my dad always cooked barbecue. And I got my mom kidnapped me from my dad when I was like, 8. And then there was this big kidnapping battle with my parents. And I was like hidden on farms. I was in schools over state borders. But then my dad won me in this landmark court case. And my dad knew barbecue. So here is this single dad, ex-officer in the Navy, now a greeting card salesman for Hallmark, trying to raise 2 kids on his own, 2 young kids, my sister and I. So, like, Christian, I've been trying to teach you this since you were like 6. Here you go. And every house, it was like a little townhouse, like a row house, had a gas grill with the gas piped in from the mains. So it was just this constant source of heat, and I learned on a gas grill. And I burned the fuck out of things, and I remember, I've told this story before, but I remember my dad yelling at me when he finally gave me some sirloins. And I was like, this is a big deal for us, working class, greeting card salesman, single dad. So I start cutting off the fat, and because I'm thinking I'm going to cut a lot of it off anyway. I don't really want that gristle. And then my dad screaming at me, like, no. That's where the flavor is. You got to get that, rendered and get it all crispy. And that's what makes the steak taste good. Otherwise, it's just, piece of meat with some salt on it. And that's where that was like 8 years old. So my dad just put me in charge of the grill for dinner.
So, Christian, someone who's new to barbecuing, what kit would you recommend to them? What recipes to cook? What advice would you give them?
Buy the best cooker you can afford. Buy well or buy twice. I always say the Weber 57 Master Touch is a great entry point grill. But, you know, all you really need is a pit, you know, a grill or a chopper, some coals. You know, you can go really pure. But I just think that the Weber is really useful and versatile. You can do it. I mean, the first book was shot, I think every recipe but the brisket was shot in the air and cooked in this. I had 3 going at once shooting the book. Same with fire food, pretty much done on a Weber and a drum BBQ. We shoot the food and then we eat it. We make food to eat.
Christian, what do you think the next big trends are going to be in barbecue?
I think the trends are people are home cooking. Like, dude, you guys got to admit, it's gone ballistic. You know, I can't even keep my books in stock right now. Like, fire food's out of stock. I think it's still on Waterstones. But my Instagram, I've never been asked more questions. You see the forums, they're going crazy. Look, you're doing this because, you know, all your stuff's blowing up. You know, Elky's stuff is insane. You know, Marcus Felden, the English community is, I think, the best. It's my favorite. I mean, I love the U.S. and I love guys like, you know, Peg Leg Porker and you know, Martin's, you know, Barnes Barbecue, all those guys, Tyson Ho, Madison Rookle from Mama Jean's and the guys down hometown home team. But I love our community. I feel ours is really tight and welcoming, you know, and friendly. I find it really friendly.
Christian, once lockdown's over, what's your plans once the lockdown's over?
I'm talking to some pretty cool brands, and I think we're just trying to get a couple deals sorted out so I can go back to making more content on YouTube and IGTV and get the book done. I just want to do live fire influences from around the world, and then we got that line of rubs in the States.
Yeah.
So I basically said it's great that we got those over there, but can we design an entire line for the UK and European market? And I know you guys are expensive, but I think a high-end rub with the best ingredients would sell over here. Because as you know, there is a little rub market brewing, but it's not like it is over in the States.
No.
So I think there's room for it. So we're developing all these, I can't tell you the names of any of them, but, you know, you're kind of...
Top secret, you heard it here first.
All purpose. We've got about 6 or 7 we're working on right now. And then like a Himalayan salt and peppercorn one, which is the one we already have in the States. So we're going to bring a couple of them over here and work on some ones for this market. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can make money while I'm sleeping.
I think we're all trying to figure that one out.
Well, Jamie Oliver said to me, he told me that. That was the advice Jamie said. He goes, you gotta figure out how to make money while you're sleeping. The only way you make money, Christian, right now is you got to be awake. You know, you're DJ BBQ. You got to be there cooking. You got to be DJing. You got to be hosting. You're always got to be awake to make your money. I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of how life is. He's like, no, write books, you know? And I'm like, oh, he's like, do merch. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, you know.
Christian, thank you for being an amazing guest on the Lockdown BBQ Show. You've been amazing.
Thanks, man. Did I talk too much?
No, not at all.
Never.
You've been an absolute legend. It's been a pleasure to have you on, mate.
A big thank you to DJ BBQ. What an amazing guest, Elky.
Absolutely amazing. He's got to be one of the coolest dudes in barbecue. And talking of cool things to do on a barbecue, this week's how-to, I'll show you how to cook the perfect tomahawk steak. So we've looked at how to set up your barbecue for 2-zone cooking, indirect cooking. We've looked and told you how to cook to temperature, not to time. Now I'm going to show you how to master a nice thick, juicy steak on the barbecue, starting with this bad boy, the tomahawk. So you've got yourself a nice thick juicy steak. You want to treat it right, you want to cook it to perfection. Best way to do that is with 2-zone cooking on your barbecue. When you've got a steak this thick, you're looking at 2 inches thick here. Obviously just cooking it and keep flipping it, you're going to end up with the outer edges that are going to be well done while the inside is rare. So we're going to do a thing, we're going to sear first. Once you've seared it, we're going to move it over to the indirect side and on the indirect side it's going to take on some smoke, and it's going to come up to temperature slowly until we're at the perfect temperature. Obviously you've got your thermo pen, you've got your temperature probe, you're going to check the temperature. Once it hits 55 degrees, medium rare, you're going to take it off, rest it and dig in. So let's show you how we cook the perfect steak on the barbecue. So the key to creating a perfect steak is to make sure, first and foremost, the steak is nice and dry, because when it hits those coals, we want it to caramelise, we want to crust to form. It's called the Maillard effect. If there's any moisture on there, it's going to steam first before we start to get that sear. So dry it first, get it completely dry, and then we're just going to apply a very thin coat of oil and plenty of salt. Don't be shy with the salt, these things can take a lot. So there it is, ready for the grill. We're not going to put any pepper on at this stage, we're going to season it with pepper at the end. So that is ready to rumble. So as you can see, we're set up for 2-zone cooking. We've got the hot coals over here, we've got the steak here. We're just going to slap that on for the sear. We're going to get a good contact with the grill, and we're just going to sear this for a couple of minutes each side. If it starts flaring up, just move it, or pop your lid down, and that's going to stop your flare-ups. And eventually we will have something like this. You can see colours change, start to get a lovely colour on there, nice crust. So we're almost there. We're just going to give it one last flip, lid back down, and there we go. So we've got the lovely sear that we're looking for. So now we're going to make the most of the 2-zone cooking area, and we're going to put this over the indirect side. We're going to pop the lid down, we're going to dial down the vents slightly to cool down the temperature in there. We don't want it running as hot as it can. We're going to dial down the vents, and we're going to let this finish cooking until we hit an internal temperature of 55 degrees Celsius. Again, remembering we're cooking to temperature, not to time, so we're going to use our thermo pen, keep an eye on it, and once we're at 55, we're going to take it off, rest it, and slice it. And there we go, the perfect medium rare tomahawk steak. Looks absolutely beautiful. Now it's time to see what some of you lot have been cooking over the last week. Happy days.
Some great photos and videos there on what's cooking. What was your favourite, Elky?
It's getting harder and harder each week, but if I have to pick one, it's going to be the leg of lamb and all the trimmings by Was Barbecue Hut. Now, Neal, you've introduced her to Churny, the milk churn smoker. You've been getting the grips of it over the last week or so. Let's take a look at what you've been up to, shall we?
The great thing about barbecue is that there's always something new to learn. And I've just completed my first test cook on Churny, the milk churn smoker, and I'm really pleased with the results. I inherited Churny about a month ago. It had been lovingly built by a retired engineer called Bill, who lived on a local farm. Sadly, he's passed away, and his family very kindly offered the smoker to me. Now I've moved Churny to its new home at the end of the garden. For my first cook, I wanted to find out how hot it gets, how much leakage there is around the doors, and how long it would take to cook a few sausages. The silver churn acts as the firebox. The heat and smoke is sucked into the cooking churn and then out through the smokestack. I was impressed that there wasn't too much leakage around the doors, and temperature-wise I got it up to around about 300 Fahrenheit. The sausages took about 40 minutes to cook. One added bonus was the top of the firebox churn got very hot enough to cook some bacon, which was a right result, and the breakfast rolls went down very well with my family. With my test cook done, it's time to be more adventurous next time, and over the coming months I plan to make more films with Churny.
I think I'm going to have a lot of fun cooking with that smoker. Now, Elky, who's our special guest next week?
Next week, we have another great guest lined up. We have Adam Purnell, aka Shropshire Lad.
That's going to be good. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's about it for this week's show. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys. Keep those fires burning.